Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at another FRQ prompt for AP Gov, and that is your Scotus or Supreme Court of the United States prompt. This writing in AP Gov slides that you see can be found towards the very bottom of classroom information in your Google Classroom. And it's the same one that you've been looking through in the past. But today we're just going to focus on the SCOTUS part. So as a reminder, just kind of some general exam information. So you can see here that your SCOTUS comparison has 4 total points awarded to it. It is 12.5% of your exam grade, and you'll have 20 minutes to write it. General information about prompts, and then we're going to kind of skip over some of the other ones that we've already done or have not done yet. And here's what the SCOTUS prompts look like. So, excuse me, kind of like with the concept application prompts, you are given information about something that is not like a required thing. So this blurb here that you see in 1935, Congress passed the National Labor Relations Act. This is not something that you were required to know for this class. But like the concept app, it is giving you all the information you need to know in order to understand that concept or that time period. And so you read the blurb, mark it up, highlight things that would seem important, details of the case, how the judge ruled, things like that. Like the second blurb here, it says, in a subsequent case, if you go down, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the National Relations Board by a 5-4 vote, holding that Jones and Laughlin Steel Corporation conducted interstate commerce and that industrial labor relations affects that commerce. So as you can imagine, if interstate commerce kind of rings a bell for some of your required Supreme Court cases, that's because if you look down in your questions, it brings up U.S. v. Lopez, right? And so if you remember that in U.S. v. Lopez, one of the big things was Congress was trying to, limit gun control or create gun-free school zones based on the fact that you purchase guns and that is commerce. Therefore, it falls under Congress's power of the Commerce Clause, and people thought, whoa, that's a bit of a stretch, right? So it's kind of similar things being talked about in this new concept that the excerpt brings to light and contrast it, and you must kind of compare or contrast this new information with something that you're already supposed to know, as U.S. v. Lopez is one of your required Supreme Court cases. So all of your SCOTUS prompts will look something like this. There will be an A, B, and a C. If you remember before, I said that the SCOTUS prompts are worth 4 points, and that's because most often B is worth 2. So A and C are worth 1, and B is worth 2. So in A, identify the constitutional clause that is common in U.S. v. Lopez, a required case that you should have mostly memorized, and this new one that you learned about. So in your answer to A, you would simply say constitutional clause, write out full sentences, please. Constitutional clause that is common in both U.S. v. Lopez and National Labor Relations Board is blank, right? And it would be the Commerce Clause. So that's it. Moving on from A. If you look at B, it's a little bit more difficult and requires a little bit more of you, and it will be worth 2 points. So explain how the facts in U.S. v. Lopez led to a different holding than National Labor Relations Board. You might think like that just kind of sounds like do one thing, but it's B always wants you to do 2 things, all right? So explain the facts in U.S. v. Lopez. That is like part 1. And then how those facts in U.S. v. Lopez led to a different holding or result than National Labor Board v. Jones. All right, so You explain the facts, and then you explain how they are different. And so it's like two separate things. Um, anywhere from 3 to 4 sentences should be more than sufficient to answer that question and then move on. And then C is back to just simply answering the question. Explain how the holding affected the balance of power between states and national governments. So it's kind of like application of other things that you've learned outside of Supreme Court cases. All right. So this is not the prompt that you will see on Tuesday whenever you write one of these, but it will be in the same format. Just a few reminders about your SCOTUS FRQ responses. Your responses do not have to be full essay responses. Most questions can and should be answered within 2 to 3 fully developed sentences that answer the specific question asked. This is one of those things like the SAQ from the APUSH test. You either get it or you don't, right? There's no like half points awarded. You either answer the specific question asked fully or you don't. If you require more than a couple sentences to like fully explain it, that's okay. A and C are worth 1 point and B is worth 2 points. And there's kind of like a further explanation of what you should be doing for those 2 points. Okay. All right. For Tuesday, you should review these 2 cases, Brown v. Board of Education and Gideon v. Wainwright. You will have 1 of 2 prompts, and those will be your 2 required cases that you should be aware of, like the constitutional like arguments that the court used for their reasoning, the majority opinion versus like dissent, general facts about the case itself, and like how the court decided, right? So look at those 2 cases and you should have everything you need to know to succeed on Tuesday, right? If you have any questions, always email me, david.south@pisd.edu. For those of you attending prom, I hope you have a fun and safe weekend. For those of you not, I hope the same for you as well. All right. Happy Friday. Don't, be shy. If you need to stop by, this is my room, B4 136 over in the HSA area. All right. See you all at some point next week. And don't forget, test on Wednesday over Unit 3. That also means that all 10 of your case briefs are due as well. All right. So those are all listed on Google Classroom. I'll double check, make sure that they are. The information where you can find to fill out those case briefs, and then yeah, you should be good to go. Today you're, reading letter, Birmingham jail. You can start the questions. If you finish them, that's great. If not, you'll have time to finish them on Monday. Whatever you finish, whatever time you have left on Monday after you finish those questions and turn them in, everybody needs to turn in their own questions. Then you can start working on either case briefs, Unit 3, policy projects, or those current events. Remember, your current events, you can turn them in at any time. I will take them, and at this point, we're still not doing any type of discussion questions, like the actual discussion, like with the discussion questions that you create. At this point, we're still just going to grade the paper that you would submit for that. All right. Have a great day.